Oh, we could fly.
Welcome to this new season of the Have a Cup of Johanny podcast. So, I want to title this new season that I'm embarking on with I'm growing. So, this is going to be the season of growth. And that's what I'm going to share with you throughout the season. So, I thank you for coming over here and sitting with me. And I hope you enjoy. Hola, vasitos. And welcome to another episode of Have a Cup of Johanny podcast. I have to say that I am so sorry I missed last Wednesday. I am in the midst of moving, and last Wednesday I was still in a hotel. I was very overwhelmed because I was trying to find a rental home in San Antonio, and that was taking like my entire mental capacity just to deal with that. Finally, here we are. My family and I are officially in San Antonio. We found a place. However, I am in between boxes, as I like to say. So right now, they are boxes and suitcases surrounding what would be my office / guest bedroom. So yes, I am in flux, but I needed to get on the podcast because this is one of the things that make me feel happy because I get to share lessons learned. And that always brings me a lot of joy to be able to give back nuggets of information and things that I have learned through a storytelling format in the hopes that others that hear it may learn something from it. So we are talking about habits this entire January. And I'm going to give you something extra in another recording because I did miss last Wednesday that has nothing to do with habits. But nevertheless, we are talking about a life skill that will save your habits when chaos strikes. And right now, as I'm in flux, this is very pertinent to me. And I'm actually exercising this thing that I learned right now. And you may be asking, all right, Joa, what is it? Backup habits, vasitos. Backup habits. That's what we're talking about. Because let's be honest, life is gonna life. But instead of throwing the towel when things get messy, hectic, chaotic, we can learn how to stay consistent in a way that works for us. Are you ready? Of course you are, because why else will you be here? Let's break it down. All right, let's start first with why backup habits matter. And like I said, I am going through it right now because life is very hectic. I have literally moved from one space to another. And in between, we went on vacation because it was the holiday season. So, of course, I didn't not wanted to do that because I feel like I didn't want the move to take away from rejoicing with family during the holidays. So for me, this period of my life has been very hectic, very chaotic. Unexpected things have happened. I didn't realize it would be this hard to find a place in San Antonio that met me and my family's needs. And I have really worked on exercising my backup habits now because it's easy to just say, you know what, I will skip today and I'll get back to it the next day. But from experience, when I have done that, it is so much harder to come back in because skipping too often makes it easier to quit entirely. And that's why backup habits like matter so much, because if you do get into that rhythm, that habit of just saying, well, I'll skip today when it gets hectic, chaotic, and unexpected things are happening, then that may become a thing that you do every single time. And then if you do that every single time, then you may just quit that habit that you have nourished, and you nourish this habit because you know you need it. You know it's very important for your life. And we talked about this on previous episodes. So if you do that, then it's almost like you're doing a disservice to yourself and to your life. So backup habits are there so that way you can stay consistent. It's not about you doing things perfectly. Okay. And we're going to go in depth about that because if you heard me talk about this before, I am very imperfect and I am actively working on just like get it done as opposed to getting it done perfectly. Because that's another thing that we need to be on the lookout for, that procrastinating tendency to not let go of any projects until it's perfect. Okay. But nevertheless, we're not talking about having our habits being done by us perfectly. We are about finding small, doable ways to stay consistent. So that way we can maintain that momentum alive and reinforce that discipline muscle. And trust me, showing up for yourself, no matter how small, can make all the difference. Okay, so this is why it matters, because you're showing up for yourself and you're showing yourself that you are important. And doing so keeps the momentum alive in your habits and reinforces your discipline muscle. So you may be asking, okay, so how do I know what habits I need to have a backup plan for? So the first step is figuring out which habits matter most to you. These are the habits that make you feel grounded and align with your goals. For me, my high value habits, my non-negotiables, are going to the gym, hydrating, that is a must, and reading or learning something new. I cannot let go of those three things because when I do, it makes me unbalanced. I figured this out through journaling. So really, I mean, now thinking about it, I think journaling should be in here too as my high value habit. But it seems like I do it without even being prompted because I have so many things going on in my mind almost every day. So I feel like I need to journal. But nevertheless, I digress. Okay. Let's discuss these three that I identified. So the way that I knew that these were the three for me was through journaling. As I often do and other people do as well, you go through these highs and lows in your life. So during one of these lows where a lot of things were happening and I was very, very busy, and I found it like I couldn't get to my 5 habits every morning. And I started feeling wonky and unbalanced. I started journaling and writing about it. And then I also have my habit tracker. And what I did was it was like a bit of like quote unquote scientific research here, right? But it was just me going through my journal and checking it out. And I noticed that those days where my mood was really bad, it was very reactive or mildly depressive, those were the days where I did not do these habits. When I didn't go to the gym, when I didn't hydrate, when I didn't pace myself down by reading or listening to something. Those were the days where my mind was just really chaotic and I was not having the best of time. And that's how I was able to find out that these are the three things that I must have a backup for them. So that way I can accomplish them either in the morning or throughout the day. It's very important because they make me feel good. They make me feel like myself. So ask yourself or do the inquisitive thing and journal and then see when you are feeling some sort of way, what was it that you did that morning or didn't do that morning or in the evening? And ask yourself, what happened today? How did I feel? And then look at your habit tracker or your journal, wherever it is that you write the habits that you accomplished that day, and then see which habits are missing from there
And that will give you insight as to which of those habits are your core habits. Because that's how I was able to find out that, you know what? It's not good for me to skip the gym. It's not good for me to skip my hydration habit. And it's not good for me to skip reading and winding down with that activity.
We'll be right back.
Whispers in the shadows. A chill in the air that grips your soul. The past isn't dead. It's alive. It's waiting. It's the devil that haunts me. From the mind of J.E. Ortega comes a tale so chilling, it blurs the lines between vengeance and redemption, reality and nightmares. Meet Isabela, a woman haunted not just by the ghost of her daughter, but by the sins of her past. As the walls of her sanity crumble, can she escape the grip of a spectral menace? Or will her demons consume her? Dive into a world where every page crackles with suspense, where every chapter peels back the layers of a curse so profound it echoes through generations. The Devil That Haunts Me isn't just a story, it's an experience, a journey through the darkest corridors of the human heart. Are you brave enough to face the devil? Are you ready to uncover the truth that haunts us all? Find out in The Devil That Haunts Me, available wherever books are sold. Pre-order your copy today and confront the devil within. El diablo te espera. The devil awaits.
That's how I was able to find that. So you can do that. That's a way that you can find out what habits are your non-negotiables. And once you do that, then is when you can look ahead to anticipate chaos or moments in your life where it's going to get really hectic and plan alternatives. Because let's face it, life is going to throw curveballs at you. And you may not know exactly when. Like, I knew that I had to move from Kentucky to San Antonio. So I knew that that time frame is going to be one of upheavals in my life. But things happen unexpectedly, and that is okay. You can still plan alternatives for when life gets hectic, even if you don't know exactly how hectic your life may get. But it's good to have those alternatives written down in the back burner, as I say, so that way you can pull them out. That can be your break glass procedure for when life gets lifing. So think ahead about how you can adapt your habit when plan A is impossible. I will give you my examples of what I do. I knew that the move here from Kentucky to San Antonio was going to be hectic. I knew that I would be spending a lot of time living out of suitcases, as some may say, and that my regular gym routine may not be something that I can do, will not be feasible during this transition time. So some of the things that I did to prepare myself was that first to make sure that I pack gym clothes and my gym shoes so that way I have them ready. That's not a hindrance to that habit. That's one. Two, when I checked in into the hotels that I was staying, one of the first things that I did, and it was always feasible because it's on the first floor, was peep at the gym to see what machines they had in there. So that way, then when I go back to my room, I can envision what I could do the next morning. Then after that, what I did was backwards plan. So usually before the end of that day, when we checked in, my husband and I will discuss the next day when we will get out of the hotel, when we will check out, when we plan on being on the road, and for how long we will be on the road. And then I would just backwards plan my gym time from there. And I allotted myself 1 hour of gym time, even though my alternative workouts were usually below that time frame. But still, I gave myself that time so that way I can be comfortable getting up. I can go downstairs and do my routine, and I can come up and then grab my husband so that way we can get coffee. You see, so that's how I plan my backup plan for the gym habit, was by ensuring that clothes were readily available for me even as I am traveling. And then two, by spotting the gym, and then from there, tailoring my workout plan from there. And in some hotels, all that it was me walking on the treadmill for 3 miles with an incline. Some gyms, that's all that they had available, and that's what I did. But I got my gym habit in. It didn't look perfect. It didn't look like what I usually do, but I got it in. For my reading habit, something that I do is that if I cannot sit for 10 minutes to read, I listen to an audiobook or I listen to a podcast, and I use my lunch breaks if I cannot do it in the morning. And if I cannot do it in the morning, I cannot do it during lunch, then I set time aside before going to bed to get that done. So that's how I get after my reading habit. If I can't physically read a book, I'm going to listen to something. And that's usually very doable no matter where I am. And if I can't listen because I don't have my headphones, this is something that has happened. And I don't want people to listen to what I'm listening. I have a Kindle on my phone. I have the e-reader. I also have NetGalley books in my phone as well, that I just pop up from the app and then I can read it from there, from the screen. Not my preferred way of reading because the phone screen is tiny, but it is a way. I did that last night when I couldn't find my headphones. And I couldn't find my e-reader either. So I was like, well, I'm reading it from my phone. And that's what I did. The water thing, this is something, let me tell you all about the water thing. I have a little baby bladder. If you know me, you know. And when you are in the road, that is, yeah, disaster. Because I don't want to be stopping every single 30 minutes so that way I can look for a bathroom. And there are some roads out there from Kentucky to San Antonio that were just deserted. It was nothing there. No gas station, no rest stops, no nothing for miles and miles on end, people. So what I did, and this comes from a lot of trial and error, from a lot of experience traveling, is that as soon as I get up, because remember, I'm already backwards planning. I know that if we're getting out at 8 in the morning, I'm going to backwards plan and get up like 3 hours before. And what do I do in those instances is that I drink water right away, like right away. I don't wait. I brush my teeth and drink water. So that way it can start flowing through my system. And then as I go to the gym, right afterwards, I can pee. And then right afterwards, with a little bit of coffee, then I go to the bathroom some more. The one thing that I do tailor when I'm on the road like this is my coffee consumption, because that makes things worse. So I try to at least get 2 cups in. At the most, I can get 4 cups in if I'm really good when I'm traveling like this, but at least 2 cups in, because I know for a fact that if I wake up enough, right, when I plan it, then I'm able to utilize the bathroom and I should be good until our next planned rest stop. And then I just chug my water bottle slowly throughout the trip, because this has been disastrous, right? This trial and error when it comes to my hydration habit has been, yeah, horrible, because I have gone through both ends of the spectrum where I just went all in and then had to stop. That's why I know that that's what would happen. I had to stop like almost every 30 minutes, and it just took forever to get where I was going. To the other end of that spectrum where I didn't drink at all and I was in pain. My heart was banging. My entire body was just in pain. I felt like I was with the flu. It's a really bad feeling to have, because I was trying not to drink at all. So that way I wouldn't stop. So I know from that experience that I need to be somewhere in the middle. Like I said, that's between 2 to 4 cups. 4, if I know that I have ample time to go to the bathroom before hitting the road. If I'm cutting it short, 2, you see? So that's how I figure how to tailor my hydration habit. And then usually when I get to the hotel to the other end, then I'll start, drinking and then catching up so that way I can get to my 8 cups. And to be honest with you, I did really well on my hydration habit. So I I guess my discipline muscle when it comes to this habit has really worked itself out very well, because I did really good. When I look back at my habit tracker during this time frame, I only missed the hydration, I want to say like 2 times. I don't have it with me. It's somewhere upstairs in my backpack. But 2 times I missed my hydration habit during this time frame. The gym habit, that was very easy to find an alternative. I mean, like I said, it didn't look like what I usually do, which is weightlifting with a little bit of cardio. Sometimes it was more cardio than anything else, but I hit my gym habit. If anything, it is now that I'm in this new house and I need to go look for a gym that I have not done the alternative gym habit. And instead, I've been just lifting boxes up and down and stuff like that, which really, if you look at it, can be an alternative, because I have been working out when it comes to moving, lifting, cleaning counts as well, and things of that nature. But I still have to go look for a gym. And my time is ticking, because if I go past 3 days, I just know it's going to take more of an effort from me to start it back up. So for sure, tomorrow will be the day that I go and execute my gym habit. So that way I won't have to put too much of an effort to kickstart it up again. When it comes to the reading habit, that for sure was easily achievable. One of my easiest things to achieve, just because of the blessing that audiobooks are. I can easily tap into an audiobook. And for sure, if anything, while driving, I got so much reading done because I just play audiobooks back to back to back. I think I played 2 nonfictions and 1 fiction. I enjoyed it. I need to give y'all a review afterwards. All right. So that's how I became flexible, like Gumpy, when it comes to my high value or non negotiable habits. Now, another thing that I would say I learned, and something you heard me already saying, is to embrace good enough over perfection. You heard me, even when it comes to the gym, I'm like, does lifting boxes really count up and down the stairs? And that is kind of like the perfectionist in me, going back and forth and trying to find a way to, how do you say, not make it okay to have an alternative when it comes to the gym, unless it's the gym. You see? So even when it comes to that, I am still learning. So learn with me here, Besitos, because this one is big. Backup habits teach us that good enough is still progress. It's not about doing the habit perfectly every day or how you envision it as perfect every day, but it's about showing up consistently in whatever way you can. And for me, now that I am acknowledging this with you all, it can be, is my habit the gym habit, or is my habit uh, moving my body habit? Moving my body in a way that helps my blood flow and helps me gain muscle habit. And I think it's that. I think my habit is more about moving physically so that way my blood can start pumping, my cardio and muscular strength can get better, or at least stay consistent as opposed to going down. That is the habit. But I think because I have done that habit, executed that habit in the gym, that I now envision that habit as always being done in the gym when it can be done in many different environments, as long as it achieves that goal, which is getting some cardio in or muscular strength in there. You see, I'm telling you, that's why I love this podcast. I'm here learning with you all as well. Okay, so it is still a win. It is still a win. And that's what we gotta embrace. I'm gonna write that in my journal. I'm gonna write it in my journal. Okay. It's still a win. So if you can only hydrate with one bottle instead of the usual three, that's progress. You did something. You see? So don't like demean yourself into, well, I didn't do three. It had to be three. No, if you can only get to one that day, that is amazing. You showed up. You showed up in a way that you could show up for yourself that day, and you did it. Because the alternative would have been to not show up for yourself. So that's progress. Every small action adds up, and it keeps your brain in the habit of showing up, which I think is like the ultimate focus. And finally, I already said it. I'm going to write this in my journal. Take the time to reflect. If a backup habit isn't working, tweak it. Maybe parking far away isn't doable in bad weather. We actually have snow on the ground here in San Antonio. So try a 5-minute walk around the office instead. Backup habits as well, just like your non-negotiable habits. Backup habits aren't set in stone. They are tools you can refine over time. Backup habits are flexible habits. They are mendable. And I will say, as long as you know what is the goal of that habit, you can adjust it to whatever environment you may be in, whatever ailment you're going through at the moment, or any hindrances that you may be going through at the moment, or any abilities that you have. As long as you know the habit that you're trying to achieve, just like you saw me do it with the gym habit, that is actually just a moving habit, you can flex it to whatever it is that you can do in that moment. That is the tool that you have at your disposal to refine that habit for that instance, for that moment, or over time, so it can benefit you. Because at the end of the day, it's about you. It's about you showing up for yourself. So the lesson here for all of us, Besitos, is backup habits They remind you that you're capable of staying consistent, even when life gets chaotic. Each time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you didn't quit, that you instead chose to adapt. And that's how discipline grows. So remember, I'm going to write this in my journal too. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done. It may look really ugly. Like I was telling my husband not too long ago, it got done. It got done. Who cares how ugly it was? As we was doing it, it got done. So here's your challenge. Get your notebook or your phone. And I want you to pick one high value or non-negotiable habit and brainstorm a backup plan for when life gets hectic. Share it with me. I love to hear what you come up with. And hey, if you got your own creative backup habits, let me know as well. DM me, put it in the comments, and I may feature that in a future episode. Until next time, besitos, stay consistent, stay adaptable. See you next Wednesday. Bye.
Oh, we could fly.
Thank you so much for listening. I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment, do a rating if you can on the podcast, share it with somebody you love, but most importantly, come back. See you next time. Bye.